Yo guys, what's going on? It's Shauno here, and today I'm just bringing an update from my last video on the Mage guide. A lot of you are going to be heading into Sunken Temple very soon if you haven't already. So I thought I would update the guide so you can see exactly what you need, what is the best pre-BiS gear, what is the best spec, etc. I just want to talk quickly about the meta right now. So obviously the raid was extremely hard. No one could actually clear it until last night. They put out some nerfs on the raid, so a lot of the health was reduced, and since then a couple of guilds have got it down, but it's still quite a struggle. And what the meta is at the moment is actually Fire Mage is very strong, and as you can see here, this is from the number 3 guild in the world. They are stacking mages. They literally have mages everywhere. The only reason they have like a hunter is for the buff. They've got a warlock for the curse of elements. They've got a priest for the stamina buff. They've got a druid for the buff. And then literally these shamans are mana bots. They're just there providing mana to the mages. So yes, someone said to me recently, oh, mages in the dirt. They're not going to be in the best. They're going to be the worst, blah, blah, blah. Well, right now, mage is at the very top and it's being class stacked. This is the first time we've actually seen class stacking, and it's mage. So you can't hide from the truth. Mage is very good at the moment, so it's going to be a good phase. Now, first thing we're going to look at is the talents, which I've gone over previously, but there has been a slight change, and I'll talk about that in this video. Now, there is timestamps below, so if you want to skip to a certain point, but I will just explain everything in this guide. So for fire, we're going to be going in impact. This is basically because we get no benefit from improved fireball because we'll be using frost fireball. Then we'll be taking ignite, we're taking incinerate and burning soul. Now for this build we've taken pyroblast, but you don't have to take pyroblast or blast wave. If you're not going to use blast wave, and to be honest you probably won't use it outside of trash, if you're purely focused on the boss fights, then don't take pyro or blast wave, just take flame throwing. The extra 6 yards might feel really small, but it's actually huge. Sometimes it's the difference of an extra cast or avoiding a mechanic and still doing DPS, so it is very useful. We also want 3 out of 3 improved scorch, 3 out of 3 master of elements, 3 out of 3 critical mass, 5 out of 5 firepower, and 1 in combustion. Then we'll be going over to the frost tree. 3 out of 3 elemental precision, 2 in frost warding, and 5 out of 5 for ice shards. This benefits our frost firebolt, which helps with the ignites, so they go hand in hand. This is the best talents. There's no way around it. You can't get better than this, at least right now. So for the head, we've got advanced warding, but to be honest, it doesn't matter too much. If you haven't found any of the head runes yet, don't worry about it. Just go into the raid, that's fine. For the chest, we'll be using burnout. For the wrist, we are actually using molten armor, which you get from the incursions. You just need the friendly reputation for this. You probably have done the incursions by now because they were crazy good experience, so you should have this already. Now originally we were simming Balefire Bolt as very good, but at the moment it looks like it's not working properly with Ignite, with Combustion, with Arcane Blast. I'm not sure if it's intentional and they hope that the 10 out of 10 buff that you can get up to is enough, but it's not. So if it's not going to give us ignites, if it's not going to give us any other benefits, then actually molten armor is a lot better. So we'll be taking molten armor, taking living bomb, we'll be taking frost firebolt, icy veins, and spell power. Now icy veins is a lot better than living flame, purely because the haste is just very good, and living flame, it just doesn't do as much damage anymore. Now it is obviously 30-second cooldown, so there is an opportunity to use multiple times, whereas icy veins is a longer cooldown, but for the most part icy veins is better. Now there might be 1 or 2 fights in the raid at the moment that are going a very long time, in which case you might get better value from living flame, but basically for the most part we'll be using icy veins. So now I'll just quickly talk about the rotation. So as we're pulling, we'll want to do a precast of improved scorch so that the scorch lands just as the tank's pulled. We'll then apply our living bomb, and then we'll do 4 more scorches to have the improved scorch effect on the boss. Now we need to maintain this. It lasts 30 seconds, So when you get to up to about 27 seconds, you'll just need to scorch again to apply this buff. So this is the most important part of our rotation. Maintaining this buff, and then you'll want to maintain Living Bomb, but you don't want to refresh it until it's exploded. So you'll apply Living Bomb, wait for it to explode, then apply Living Bomb again. Assuming you have the improved Scorch and the Living Bomb up, we'll use Frost Firebolt. Now what you'll want to do is, after you've applied the improved Scorches and the Living Bomb, you'll want to use Combustion and Icy Veins straight away to use Frost Firebolt. The reason we do it straight away is it's a 3-minute cooldown. There might be a chance that we get another Combustion, so the sooner we use it, the more DPS we can do, and the sooner we can get the cooldown back. So again, just to summarize, we'll want to maintain our improved Scorch buff as priority, maintain Living Bomb on the target, but let it explode before reapplying, and using Frost Firebolt. One thing to add is, if there are ads, you can also use Living Bomb on the ads. It depends on the scenario whether you need more AoE DPS or more single target DPS. But that's it. It's a very easy rotation, and Frost Firebolt is doing a lot of damage, and that's partly the reason why it's being stacked, because Ice Shards and Ignite are doing really well together. So now I'm going to go over the Pre-BiS gear. Now some of these options have stuff from Nomagun and stuff from BRD, but if you've never done any raids before, I'll give you other options as well. Now starting with the head, unless you can get the extremely rare Eye of Flame, which has got 43 fire damage, 10 intellect, is very good. If you can't get that, then we'll use the tailoring head that you should have already. If for some reason you don't have this, then I would highly recommend that you farm up the rep for the new Emerald set. This is from the Incursions. It's very easy to grind up. You get some of it from friendly, some of it later on, but it's very fast to grind it up, and it's a decent set to get into the raid if you've never done anything before. There's 6 pieces. You can get the shoulders, robes, pants, gloves, boots and head. So if you haven't done any raiding, then grab that set. For the neck, we've got the Piston Pendant. If you haven't done any raids, then there isn't many options for you. You'll just have to pick up a green necklace with intellect on, but I would highly recommend you do Noma or BRD to get hold of this necklace or this one. For the cloak, we're just going to craft the Cindercloth cloak. If you're not tailoring, you could probably buy this from the auction house quite cheap, or you can ask someone to make it for you. For the robes, we've got the Irradiated set. This is the best set we can get pre-BiS. There's nothing really better than this. You could go for the Emerald Enchanted set. Like I said, if you haven't raided before, just go for the Emerald set. For the wrists, we've got the Warsong Gulch braces. Now you should have these already. If you don't, you can go for the Phoenix bindings or the oil stained bindings from Noma. Otherwise, just buy these from the auction house. They're technically still for level 25, or you could just buy a random one. You might get lucky to find one with 20. For the weapon, we've got the Glimmering Gizmo Blade. This is from Noma. If you haven't raided before, you can go for the Charstone Dirt. This is from Princess in Mara. It's got 11 spell damage and 11 intellect, so it's not quite as good as the Gizmo Blade, but like I said, if you haven't raided before, that's your next best. For the offhand, I'm still going for the Celestial Orb. I'm a big fan of this. I told you so many times before, it has 13 spell damage and an on-use effect to give 400 to 1200 mana. The reason this is really good is you can use this straight away on the fight. And then once you've used the on use for the mana, you could switch to something else like this one. It's going to give you slightly more spell damage, or this one is going to give you slightly more spell damage. But like I said, you can switch weapons in combat, so you should have this Celestial Orb by now. Hopefully you didn't pick the staff. There's so many videos I've told you how powerful this is. You should have it already. For the gloves, we're still just going to use the Dreamweave gloves. Like I said, you could pick up this set. If you're going for this set, you may as well get this set because you want the set bonus. But otherwise, just go for the Dreamweave gloves. Now, this Cord of Untamed is a new belt for this season. You can get it in Fellwood for some offerings. I'm not 100% sure how it fully works yet, but you can also get this one from Blackrock Depths. You can get the Death Mage sash from RFD still, or you can get the belt from the AB reputation. For the legs, I would recommend just getting some fiery legs. 36 fire damage is very, very good. Obviously, if you've still got the irradiated set, you could get this, but the minus stamina and 20 less spell damage, I think the fiery Wrath legs are very, very good. Again, if you're going for the set, then get the emerald legs to complete the set bonus. For the feet, we've got the irradiated feet. If you don't have these, you get the Cindercloth boots, or like I said, go for the emerald set. Now, for the ring, we've got the new ring here, which is the Band of Boiling Blood. You probably still have this Ember Blood seal, so you might just use this one. The spell damage difference is only 1, so the new one isn't that great. It's more for PvP, it gives you a lot more stamina. But if you have this one, just go with this one. You can also get this band here, which has 12 spell damage, 7 intellect and 8 stamina. It's from BRD. Otherwise, just go for another Advisor's Ring, the level 48 version. For the trinkets, we've got the Miniaturized Combustion Chamber and the Invoker's Void Pearl. Now, if you've never done any raiding before, there's a new trinket added for the new reputation. It's called Anguish of the Dream. It's not the best trinket in the world, but it adds an extra 40 damage whenever you kill a target that gives experience or honor. For the wand, I've got a Fiery Wrath wand with 19 fire damage on it. These are very, very good ones if you can get hold of them. Otherwise, just go into Blackrock Depths and try and get hold of this one. Or you can use any wand really, it doesn't matter too much. And that's everything for the Pre-BiS set. Now, I'm just going to quickly talk about consumables. So for the food, we want the Night Fin soup. This is going to give us 8 MP5. Now for the weapon oil, we want the Brilliant Wizard oil, which gives us 36 spell damage and 1% crit. If you can't get hold of this, you can get the normal wizard oil, which gives 24 spell power. For the elixirs, we want the Elixir of Greater Firepower. It's going to give us 40 fire damage. We also want the Greater Arcane Elixir, which is going to give us 35 spell damage. There's also scrolls you can use as a mage. You'll want the Power Scroll, which is 1% crit, and the Recovery Scroll, which is 8 MP5. And you'll of course also want mana potions. So hopefully you now know everything that you need to know to get into the raid. I'll leave links down below for this page here, so you can see all of the talents, the gear and the buffs. If you have any questions or anything, just drop them in the comments below. I'll respond as soon as I can. But best of luck in the raid. Remember, it's just for fun. Don't get too caught up if you can't clear it. The content is quite hard at the moment, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, don't forget to subscribe. If you like the content, give me a subscription. Like the video, it helps me a lot. Thank you very much guys, and have a good day.